Hi, I'm Becky Streethy from Glue and Glitter, and today we are going to make my vegan buffalo almond dip. This dip is creamy, spicy, and vinegary, and it even has hidden vegetables in it. This buffalo dip has a 2-ingredient base. The first ingredient is raw almonds. The reason that I'm using almonds instead of cashews is because soaked cashews, when you blend them up, they do get totally perfectly creamy, and that's actually not what you're going for in this dip recipe. You do want kind of a creamy base, but a traditional buffalo dip usually has shredded chicken in it, and so someone eating it is going to expect a little bit of texture, and the almonds really bring that to this recipe. Start by soaking your almonds in hot water for 10 minutes. Even if you're using a high-speed blender, I really recommend that you soak. If you were making this at home, at this point you would toss everything else into the blender so that when the almonds are done soaking, you can just strain and add them. But for the sake of clarity as far as the ingredients go, I'm going to finish the almond step now and then move on to the rest of the ingredients. So just know that you're going to save a ton of time by multitasking while the almonds are soaking. When the 10-minute soaking time is up, drain your almonds and then discard that soaking water. You really don't want to use that water in any other recipes because it kind of has a funny taste to it, so just discard it. You can use it in your garden or throw it on a houseplant, just don't use it in this recipe. Transfer those soaked almonds to the blender along with a cup of defrosted cauliflower rice. The reason I'm using rice cauliflower instead of whole is because your blender is already doing quite a bit of work on the almonds, so let's give it a head start on that cauliflower. This is especially helpful if you're not using a high-speed blender. Next, it's time to add that spicy vinegary buffalo sauce. When you're shopping for your buffalo sauce, just make sure you check the ingredients for dairy. I know dairy and hot sauce seems weird, but when it comes to buffalo sauce, companies will sometimes add butter or butter fat to help it cling to something like wings. So just make sure you're keeping an eye out for that. Next, you'll add a bit of water. Remember, this is not the soaking water, this is new water. Depending on the speed of your blender, you might need a little bit more water than this, so start with the 1/4 cup, and then as you're blending, if things are really having trouble getting moving, you can add another tablespoon or 2 of water to the blender. Just add it slowly so that you don't add too much because you don't want a watery, runny dip. Next, you'll add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. If you absolutely do not do oil, you can use 2 more tablespoons of water here, but I definitely recommend using the oil if you can. The oil really adds a creaminess to this dip, so just know if you use water instead, you're not going to get quite the consistency that I was going for. And now it's time to spice things up. We're going to add a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder to this mix. And it's time to blend. Puree this dip until you have a pretty smooth mixture with a little bit of texture. You will want to stop a few times during the blending process to scrape down the sides of the blender because the dip is going to fly up the sides. So just use like a rubber spatula or something to kind of push everything back down towards the blades and then blend again. And just keep scraping down and blending until you have a mix that's the texture that you want. You can really blend longer and get a smoother dip or for less time and have more texture. It's totally up to you. Now that the blending time is done, you're ready to serve. Scoop that dip into your favorite serving dish and serve it up with your favorite things to dip. I'm serving it here with bagel chips, but you could also use pita chips or tortilla chips. You could also do veggies like carrots or celery for dipping. Just choose what you like best. I hope that this video addressed all of your questions about how to make this buffalo dip. If you have any questions that I didn't get to in the video, feel free to drop them below. I'm happy to help. And don't forget to rate and subscribe. Happy cooking!